Meeting for the Plainville Board of Education for Monday, April 18th, 2022. Crystal, do you want to lead us in the pledge?
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Special presentations. Okay, we'll do the special presentation for the Portrait Pioneer Award.
Thank you. It's a true pleasure and privilege to welcome our nurse from the high school here, PHS nurse Tricia Rapacki. You know, I have to say that this might take me a little longer than some because the nominations from a couple of colleagues here were really impressive. So I just want to share what was written about Nurse Rapacki from PHS and all that she does here at the high school. From Julie Samard, also an RN, and as you know, our lead district COVID compliance liaison. Tricia has been a tremendous source of support for the students and staff at Plainville High School during the pandemic. Plainville High School is our largest school and has had the most COVID-19 cases in the district. Tricia has risen to the occasion and worked tirelessly to support school members, often volunteering to provide guidance, dropping off COVID tests, or assisting in vaccination clinics at any time of the day or night. Her cheerful personality, as well as the empathy and concern she demonstrates for those under her care, has been a source of comfort for all. In addition to her role during the pandemic, Tricia has a broad background in nursing and emergency care and is an important resource to both new and experienced school nurses on our team. And Mr. Johnson, our principal here at the high school, had a lot to say about Mrs. Rapacki. Mrs. Tricia Rapacki and I started at PHS in the same year, the fall of 2016. When people think of a school nurse, they think about the job they do for the students. Tricia, though, takes care of our whole community at PHS, whether it be families calling, people stopping her in the hallways, teachers sending a quick email for advice, or even possibly a principal stopping down to make sure his blood pressure is okay. That's where I should come, huh? Okay. She takes care of us all. She takes care of all of us because that is what she does. In addition, she has a level of expertise and medical knowledge that's the strongest I've ever worked with in a school setting. I witnessed this firsthand when we had a medical situation with a student during my first week at PHS during dismissal. She immediately sprung into action and began to provide the necessary care to make sure the student was okay until paramedics could arrive. This was also her first week with students, and let's just say, I think she handled it better than the brand new assistant principal, who was Carl at the time. I believe that it's when I knew that Tricia is someone special who is invaluable to our school. My point is that all of this was true before March of 2020. And she would have deserved this honor because of the work she has done during normal times as a school nurse. However, it would be incredibly remiss of me not to highlight what has happened since then. Tricia and I have gotten to know each other very well over the past 2 years. I think I have probably spoken to her on the phone more than anyone else during this time. That doesn't include the countless emails or visits to her office for advice. To put it very simply, I would not have been able to lead this place these past 2 years without Tricia. She worked so hard these past 2 years that I struggle to express how much she has done. I feel any attempt would be inadequate to the work she has done. I genuinely believe that a critical reason why PHS was able to weather this time better than many other schools in this country is because of the trust that Tricia has with so many of our families, staff, and students. That trust meant that when it came time to get my vaccination at the clinic at PHS in March of 2021, I knew which station I was going to in the gym. You know, I waited in line for a long time. I finally gave up. Actually, I made sure my children actually saw Tricia also. So, and Tricia had quite a following. She had to sign up. So, from Vicki Trzynski, I was on the phone with her, and she said, oh, I have to just share a few words, but she said that Tricia is incredibly knowledgeable about nursing in every way and highly committed to children to make sure that they have the supports they need, both inside and outside of school. She goes above and beyond the call of duty for our kids in our district, and we're very fortunate to have a nurse of Tricia's experience and high caliber working in our school district. And I'll just say that, you know, in the time that I was actually on the committee that hired Tricia over at, I think we were over at Toflawn School for the interviews, and very excited to, you know, at first we were wondering, well, she hasn't worked in schools before, she's, you know, in a hospital, and wonder how that'll translate over. And you know, we're so fortunate that we made a decision to hire you because you've been absolutely invaluable to the district, and we're very happy to have you, and everything that everyone said about you, I just second that, and thank you so much for all you do. So I'll come up front, and Lynn Davis will get a picture with your certificate here with our board chair.
How about right in front of us? Okay, very nice. Take a couple. All right, on 3, 1, 2, and 3. Nice. Good. Perfect, thank you. Congratulations. Okay, thank you.
We have 3 sets of minutes this evening. If there are no objections or corrections to the minutes, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve items A, B, and C, which includes the minutes from March 14th, 2 for March 14th, and 1 for April 4th.
Madam Chairman, I request that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Education on March 14, 2022. Approval of minutes of also the meeting on March 14th of the Board of Education, as well as approve the minutes of April 4th, 2022, the special meeting of the Board of Education.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve items A through C?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. And we have the council liaison. Do you have her minutes? Oh, sorry, citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments? Going once, going twice? Any citizens' comments? Guess we're all set. Which has been really different from the past 2 meetings. Okay, and then council liaisons report. Did you want me to read that?
Sure. I'll be doing a lot of talking.
Right.
Yeah. Want to use this?
I have it. So the town council news, April 4th, 2022, Tomlinson Avenue Bridge project, road closure. The Tomlinson Avenue Bridge replacement project has begun. The bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic beginning Monday, April 11th, 2022. Detours have been set up to direct motorists. Motorists are encouraged to avoid the area and seek alternate routes. Pedestrian traffic across the bridge will be maintained during the project. The closure is expected to extend through the summer. Honor Heights sewer discussion. The town staff continues to develop the plans to install sanitary sewers to the 84 homes that are in the Honor Heights neighborhood. The project is proposed as follows. Project cost estimate is $1.2 million to $1.4 million. Source of funding, beneficial assessments, $840,000, $10,000 each residential property, and low CIP funding of $560,000, which is already in place. It is proposed that the town council allow for the beneficial assessments to be paid over a 10 or 20-year period at a simple interest rate of 2%. The beneficial assessment would be due in full when a property is transferred or sold. According to the town attorney, a town can pass an ordinance allowing elderly or disabled homeowners to pay their assessments in other ways. Such alternate payment methods are available only to people who are eligible for circuit breaker, tax freeze, or municipal option tax relief. The ordinance can allow owners to defer any or all payments, to pay only the annual interest charge, or to pay in some other way that the WPCA approves. The outstanding principal must be paid when the property is transferred or the property owner dies. Optional payment arrangements are subject to annual approval by the WCPA. CGS Section 7-253A. There are currently 6 property owners in the Honor Heights subdivision that currently qualify for circuit breaker, tax freeze, or municipal option tax relief. Property owners would not be required to connect to the sewer system if their current septic system continues to properly function. The plan would be for the sanitary sewers to be installed in 2023. Also, the first step in the process would be an 8-24 referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission to confirm that the expansion is in concert with the town plan of conservation and development. Second, it is recommended that an appraiser be engaged to determine the potential benefit that would accrue to the residential properties if sewers became available. Third, the Plainville Southington Health District should review the plans and provide information regarding the possible life expectancy for the existing septic systems. Fourth, a public hearing should be held to allow residents to ask questions and provide feedback regarding the proposed project. It is recommended that a public hearing on the proposed sewer installation be held in May. A recommendation on a specific date will be made at the April 18th Town Council meeting. ARPA discussion and proposed projects, library and recreation. During the recent budget work sessions, the Town Council expressed an interest in utilizing coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds associated with the American Rescue Plan Act for the following proposal projects. Library estimated cost of $100,000 and Recreation Department estimated cost $40,000 to make up for lost revenue that occurred during the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly, there is an item under new business that would schedule the public hearing during the April 18th Town Council meeting. Union tentative agreements. Tentative agreements have been executed for both the Public Works Union and the Town Hall Library Dispatch Union for a 3-year agreement beginning on July 1st, 2022 and ending on June 30th, 2025. The agreements call for 3% salary increases for each of the 3 years, with health insurance employee contributions increasing by 1% in fiscal year 23 and 0.5% in the subsequent 2 years. There is an item under New Britain Business that would have the Town Council ratify the tentative agreements between the 2 unions. The police chief reception. This is a reminder that a reception to welcome new police chief Christopher. Wait, this is kind of old news. Yeah, so we did have we did have the new police chief reception on Wednesday, April 6th from 6 to 7:30. Residents and business owners showed up and welcomed the chief, and it was a really good evening. Also, Plainville Southington Health District update. The health district has recently hired 2 new employees and are now fully staffed. Tennille, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Tennille Davis has been hired as the chief sanitarian for the district. She has a master's degree in public health and previously worked for the Town of Manchester Health Department and the Farmington Valley Health District. Julia Berdacki Krugel is a registered sanitarian who previously worked for the Chesapeake Regional Health District and is a member of the Connecticut Environmental Health Association. Regional Health Director Susan Lonzak recently said that the health district's focus, now that they are fully staffed, that over the next several months, staff will be catching up with restaurant inspections. Farmington Avenue tree planting update. The Town Council recently authorized 10 trees be replanted on Farmington Avenue. These trees were removed by the State Department of Transportation after being damaged because of several recent storms. The tree plantings are expected to begin on Wednesday, April 6th. And that completes the report for the Town Council. And now we have the superintendent's report.
Thank you. So just a few updates and reminders for the public and for our board regarding what's coming up over the next few weeks, especially this week. We have some important things happening. So just some general updates that many of them were reflected in my newsletter that went home on Saturday morning. But just to remind everyone that the Superintendent's District Showcase, really a spotlight about our district and all the things that, well, many of the things that go really well here and that are our student successes and achievements and talents will be showcased starting here in the auditorium at 6:30. And we'll be transitioning after a nice performance by our championship high school cheerleaders here in the auditorium, and some welcoming remarks from me. We'll head into the cafeterias for really a great variety of performances, jazz band, music performances from the middle school and high school level, some STEM and STEAM demonstrations. We have some preschoolers who will be here. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Things like that. So many different booths set up. We'll have a demonstration from CSG about our middle school renovation project. So more to name than I'll name here, but really a great night to come out and see many of the wonderful things that are happening in Plainville schools. And just a reminder about the importance of getting out on the all-day budget vote on April 26th, and voting in the way that you believe represents your position on what our budget should be. So we're hoping to have a nice reminder of the great things this school district provides to our community, and then we hope that everyone gets out and votes on Tuesday, the following Tuesday. Just a reminder on the strategic planning next steps as well. On Thursday night, I'll give a bit of an overview about that process to our guests who are in the auditorium. That'll be very brief, but we've already conducted a survey last summer, then a more extensive survey more recently. We had an online virtual kickoff where we added more feedback. We also will have a booth set up in the cafeteria where anyone who comes on Thursday can provide additional insights that they'd like us to consider in our strategic planning process. From there, the next step will be on May 3rd. We'll have a pretty large group of individuals, stakeholders from the community, all the way from state representatives to town and Board of Education leadership, administrators, teachers, members of our student body, who will participate in a strategic planning process. We'll really take what we're doing now and extend and expand that to additional areas we believe as a community are important to this community's continuous growth. So looking forward to those next steps. Once we have that large meeting, we'll break it down into smaller subcommittee groups. So we'll work on individual projects and areas of improvement that we've determined are important to the community through the processes that I've just mentioned. Just related to COVID, I know that the positivity rate was, you saw over 6%. We expected some bump in the rates after coming back from, vacations and lots of travel and gatherings. However, we're still in very good shape. As I mentioned in my newsletter, we did return to the same level of, precautions and mitigations in place, which were, relatively minimal. We continue to be obviously mask optional and we're just continuing some practice at the elementary school for the time being, waiting for hopefully the cases to subside a bit. We had about 27 cases over the vacation period that were reported, and we still have some that are, trickling in today and over the, likely over this week. So we'll continue to assess on a day-by-day and week-by-week basis, and hopefully be able to even remove some of the additional, safety measures in place. In my newsletter, I mentioned a local student, middle school student, Michael Ahern, who I'm just really proud of, and I apologize to those who have received the actual Congressional Medal of Honor for military service. There's different divisions of that, so I just wanted to make a correction to the title. It's a Congressional Medal of Honor for citizen. It's a Citizen Honors Award, which is the highest citizen honor that you can receive as a citizen. And Michael, being a 6th grader, we're just really proud of the work he's done with Scoops for Troops, and just for the recalibration camp up in Maine, where he's raised tens and tens of thousands of dollars, $30,000 in his first year, and he continues to just raise more. His goal is to raise $500,000 by the time he goes off to college, and I'm sure he'll surpass that. He's also working with me in the Rotarians, along with his parents and his sister, and I'm having trouble with Frank Robinson. I was trying to think of Mr. Robinson's last name. I don't know how I would forget it. He's a great guy. So we're planning a veterans breakfast that will happen before the end of the year. Looking forward to that and making that a big success. This Friday, we're having a Ukraine refugee support fundraiser. So we're asking everyone to, who would like to participate, to wear blue and yellow, the colors of the Ukraine flag, and donate $1 or more that will go to an organization called World Central Kitchen that will provide food and meals and support to the surrounding communities where the refugees are going in Poland. And I appreciate the parent who let me know about that organization. Grandparents live just 2 hours from the Ukraine border and have explained all the strife and hardship and difficulties that the refugees and the residents in the neighboring Polish communities are experiencing. So we want to do what we can to help. I did share, and I will say it here quickly because Jill O'Brien did a great job of putting this Daddy Boot Camp together. And it's really for new and expecting dads, and I wish I had something like this when I was going to become a dad, because I didn't know the first thing about what I was doing, and I made lots of mistakes that I wish I could do differently. So this is happening through a grant from Main Street Community Foundation Men and Boys Fund, which I'm fortunate to be on the Board of Advisors, a great group. We've been in existence for 5 years now. We're celebrating our 5-year anniversary in June. So she wrote a grant, she did all the work, she put it together, and this program is going to be happening through Adult Ed. So it's a great opportunity for for new dads, I should say, regardless of their age. And so I hope you take advantage. And just a couple of quick things I would like to share is that ever since the VEX Robotics, the state VEX Robotics championships were held at our middle school just a short while ago, we've been working to build on that program, because currently we had a first robotics program at the high school that ended up having to discontinue for a number of reasons: student involvement, participation, advisors, trouble getting advisors. But I've been meeting with initially with Carl Johnson and Steve Mashad, the head of the CTE programs here at the high school, and Camille Westfall, who's kind of the mother of all things VEX here in Plainville and a leader of VEX in the state. We did lots of research with other high schools. We've been planning and mapping out a process to get us to become one of the VEX leaders in the state. We'll use ESSER grant funds to front-end load this project is the idea, along with fundraising opportunities. So I'll be presenting more formal details about the stipends and the positions, but we're really hoping to make this a elementary through high school initiative where competitive VEX robotics, especially at the secondary level, is something that we do as well as the middle school has done. Those kids learn so much and enjoy it so much. And we have students here at the high school who approached me at that competition and asked me if there's any way we could please get VEX at the high school. So that's what I've been working on. I did get a list of all kinds of parts and needs for the program from a student, Val. I won't try to say Valentin Casabruja, but great kid, very intelligent young man who was definitely going to be a leader in the program, and he's only going to be a junior next year, so he's got some time. So really committed to this, and I appreciate Steve Michaud and Camille Westfall. We've submitted a proposal to the collective bargaining group just to get some insight about, requirements and perhaps a side letter of agreement. But I'll share any details once we come up with something that the board would also approve on, because it would involve some stipend positions that once the grant funds are no longer here, we'd have to consider. So just wanted to give you an update on that, so you didn't think I forgot about it. It's really important to me and to our district and to our families, so it's something that we're going to keep going. And the last thing I'll share with my, the first part of my report anyway, well, two more quick things. I met with Carl Johnson and members of the Plainville Fire Department for a discussion about how we can help them to increase the amount of volunteer firefighters in town, and also to build on partnerships through our career pathways that are in place. A lot of great work's been done by Mr. Lewandowski and the committees, Ms. Davis, and all of our committee members who are committed to our college and career pathways, and also with our learning adventure days. So we talked about a lot of things in about an hour and a half on a Friday afternoon because we were all excited about it, and we're helping the fire department to host an open house on May 21st. There's going to be volunteers from the school district helping out there. We're hoping to, the fire department is very much open to offering a learning adventure opportunity, and I'll work with the police department and hopefully ambulance and EMTs so that students who are interested in first responder work would get 2 hours of each, so a full day learning adventure, learning about being a first responder, and then to kind of have a better, concept of what each involves. So more information about all of this coming out, but I just wanted to share that. I had a great meeting with Chief Tom Moschini and the First Lieutenant John Miska, who are very knowledgeable, very passionate, very committed to the work they do, and we want to help them with that because it helps our kids, and it helps our families, and it helps our community. So I'm excited about that. And finally, I'll just share that on Friday before the vacation break, I shared an opportunity for our teachers and all staff members. So it could be a custodian, a maintainer, an office professional, paraprofessional, tutor, teacher, psychologist, administrator. If you want to propose through a Google form a passion project, something that you're passionate about teaching others and doing with members of this adult staff community after hours, after the workday, perhaps on a weekend even, to propose that. We do have grant funds that we've committed initially $20,000 to provide options for staff to be involved in these projects to help other staff dealing with the stress of the position, the mental health, the feeling of connection to other members of the staff. And believe it or not, before I even went home on Friday, we had 8 submissions. We got one more this morning, and some really great stuff. So looking forward to reviewing those this week, and then making all of them seem reasonable, to be honest. And looking forward to taking the next steps on that and really supporting our staff needs as well as those of our students, and building that even tighter PCS family that we are proud of here. With that, that's item A of superintendent's updates. The second item is really about 2 big projects that members of our staff have been putting a lot of time into. Mr. Ross, if you could pull up just a quick PowerPoint, I think there's 5 or 6 slides, or maybe 7. This is a repeat slide that you know about. As you know, we've been working on a strategic planning process. We've been gathering insight. We've started a number of different projects aligned to the work of using our grant funds in a wise and meaningful way for student recovery, for mental health support, for additional positions we needed to recover from the pandemic that's been ongoing. So without getting into too much detail here, we'll be talking about using additional funds in the future, but a couple of the projects that were submitted through our charter, anyone who wanted to work on to propose a project had to submit a charter or project proposal. And 2 projects that I'm going to share with you tonight are projects that we believe should go through a process of first hearing about it here tonight, very briefly, and then I'll ask our chair of the Finance and Facilities Subcommittee we'll work on scheduling a meeting, Mr. White's that person, and anyone else who wants to come from the board to hear about much more detail about those projects. And then I would ask that at the May Board of Education regular board meeting, that the board vote on whether to pursue and move forward on these projects. It's kind of a formal checks and balances process, because it is using grant funds, it's a little different. It doesn't have to go before the town council for a project of this size, but these are projects that are over $100,000 each, so it's a substantial amount of grant resources, and I think they should be vetted through the proper, Mr. Adlerstein has done a lot of work on it, so I appreciate that. If you go to the next slide, Mr. Ross. So this is what I basically just explained. So you'll see on the agenda tonight, it's listed as, anticipated discussion on bid waiver. So, and this kind of explains, or Mr. Adlerstein, if you feel free to explain it better than I probably am, but because these are these vendors are on the state-approved list, we don't have to go out to bid on these projects. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, the state vets and contracts with a number of vendors in a variety of areas on behalf of municipalities and districts, and those contracts, they have already done the bid process and they've put it out competitively, and so those vendors that are selected, we can use those vendors. We haven't fully been through our vetting process and done all of our due diligence, but likely we'll choose vendors from that list, and that's why we would ask for a bid waiver. We wouldn't bid it here. It's already been bid by the state.
Right. And tonight I won't be asking for any vote on any of these projects. It'll just be really just consensus to go forward with a full detailed explanation about these projects to the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee. So it won't be a formal vote or anything, and you'll hear a lot more at that meeting, which we're hoping to have in the next 2 to 3 weeks, even though it's a very busy time. If you go to the next slide. So Linden's Playscape, and this is called the Gaga Pit, if you didn't know what it is. Lots of fun, I guess. I probably wouldn't be very good at it, or I might pull something in my back, but it's really something that, Mr. Wallowitz, has found to be inclusive. Any student can do this particular game. Maybe not every student would be able to play football or baseball or soccer, perhaps, but this is something that kids really enjoy. I've actually seen the kids at the high school when we go on the senior trip to Camp Chase. They love the Gaga Pit, and they have a great time in there. But that's part of it. The other part is the actual playscape, and the preschool playscape has been deemed in pretty poor condition as well. So, the idea would be to replace those to make them more equitable to the other schools. Right now, Linden's playscapes are substandard compared to Wheeler and Tofflon's, which are new and much better than what Linden has. So this is something that Mr. Wallowitz, as principal of the school, had requested, and is really hopeful that we can use some of these funds, which would be in alignment with the grant allowances. And then the next one is the PHS Library Media Center. I can't thank Deb Peichel enough. She put a lot of work into this, and both Jeff Wallowitz and Deb Peichel will be at the Finance Facilities Subcommittee meeting to present and give more details. But really the idea, and if you could go to the furniture right now does not meet the needs, and it's some of it's falling apart. It's kind of a mismatch in there in the high school. I don't know if it's going to pull up, Mr. Ross, but I had a schematic drawing of just kind of the layout that was being proposed, and that's it. It just features a lot of really engaging kind of centers and furniture and features that would really make this a high-level learning space, a collaboration space. That room's full every period of the day, and it hasn't always been that way. Mrs. Peichel and Mrs. Tavernier, who works in there as well, have made it a friendly, productive space for kids where they want to be, and they feel safe and they feel comfortable, and they do a lot of work. They're not going down there just to goof around. I've been in there a number of times, and it's always great to see the kids engaged. So this would make it even more conducive to learning, and to additional sections that Mr. Johnson will talk about at the meeting as well, and different offerings. It would build on the current structure. It would also make it a community space that members of our community, hopefully our Board of Education meetings, could be held from in there as well. This isn't the most ideal setting. It could be used as a rental space as we rent out other parts of our building. like this auditorium and other spaces, so organizations could come in and use it as a really good conference, you know, that would hold up to, I think, I want to say 80 or, no, it's more than that. It's over 100. You'll get all those details. So if you could just go to the end, Kevin. So, you know, if there's any initial questions tonight, I'm happy to answer them, but other than that, we would, you know, entertain a lot of the information and get more details at the Facilities and Finance Committee. Anyone have any questions tonight? Otherwise, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we'll start with the board subcommittee reports. Is Garrett here? Oh, okay. Garrett and Isabella, sorry.
Right, good evening, everybody. Hi. I hope you'll excuse the softball mess happening right now. We just had a game in Tolland, but we lost, but it was okay. We played well. So I hope you all had an enjoyable spring break. PHS students have been gearing up for the end of the school year, with the juniors receiving their SAT scores and looking for the right fit for colleges, as well as juniors looking forward to Commitment Day, which will be observed on May 1st this year. With the thoughts and conversations of COVID-19 progressively lowering, many students are seeing a shift in social life as well as a shift into lighter and more happier conversations. Students and staff are hoping that the change in weather and the lowering in COVID-19 cases will create a great end of the school year. That's all I got for you guys. So here's Garrett. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you, Isabella. So just as an overview of events at PHS, looking back, PHS had their successful second Learning Adventure Day, which lasted the whole day, the Friday before April vacation. Over 40 different events were available to students, ranging from 2 to 6 hours long. This included field trips to Mystic Aquarium, the ropes course at Nomads Empower Adventure Park, and a tour of Tunxus Community College and Central Connecticut State University. On April 7th, Keegan Mullen was crowned the class of 2022 Mr. PHS in a successful event that benefited Project Grad, which will be at the YMCA on June 10th, the same day as graduation. The PHS chapter of the National Honor Society has been holding their service project since January, which is a tutoring program for any high school student during their study hall in the Learning Commons. Different members of National Honor Society volunteers will tutor students each period of the day, providing help in any subject, including math, social studies, foreign language, and English. The chapter is currently working on their second service project, which will be a donation event to benefit the Plainville Food Drive, which will be all next week at PHS. Looking forward, the Superintendent Showcase is this Thursday at 6:30, where Plainville schools will display the hard work of students and staff and performances by the PHS Jazz Band and Chamber Choir. PHS juniors and seniors prepare for AP tests, which will be on May 4th through May 11th. The class of 22 advisors and student council are beginning to plan end-of-year events, such as the junior and senior prom, which is on May 21st, the senior class night on May 25th, super senior banquet on May 26th at the AquaTurf, and the super senior picnic on May 27th, including many more events to come. And that concludes the student perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Facilities Finance Subcommittee report, Foster.
There is no report, but there will be one for next meeting, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Policy Subcommittee report, Crystal.
Yeah, we actually met today at 4 o'clock virtually. We went over, I think we had 5 different policies. The first policy we went over was in this, a policy for credit for online courses and remote learning. This policy is based on a public act, and it basically, beginning July 1st, it just allows, the act allows the Board of Education to authorize remote learning for students in grades 9 through 12, provided the remote instruction is in compliance with the SDE standards for remote learning. And basically, it's just a general policy at this time. The second policy was Policy 5146, Student Privacy Policy. It was based on guidance from the U.S. Department of Education's Student Privacy Policy Office. This updated language clarifies when the administration must obtain prior written consent of a parent or student before administering a student survey related to certain topics, and when the administration must provide parents or students notice and an opportunity to opt out of participation. The third policy we went over was food service charges. Basically, new legislation requires the inclusion of the following in the board policies for the collection of unpaid school meal charges. So one, it's a prohibition on publicly identifying or shaming a student for any unpaid meal charges. 2, a declaration of a child's right to purchase one meal for any school breakfast, lunch, or other feeding, which may exclude a la carte items. And 3, a procedure for communicating with parents or guardians about collecting a child's unpaid meal charges. The fourth policy we went over was a FAFSA completion rates. Those are like the financial aid for like colleges, I believe. Mm-hmm. So this policy aligns with a public act, and it directs boards of education to adopt a policy no later than July 1st to improve the completion rates of the FAFSA by students enrolled in grades 12 or an adult education program maintained by the board. And the fifth policy we went over was challenging curriculum, policy number 6203. And the reason for this policy, again, it aligns with another public act, which requires boards of education, not later than July 1st, 2022, to adopt a policy that, 1, provides multiple methods by which a student may satisfy the eligibility criteria for student enrollment in an advanced course or program. 2, provides a provision requiring the creation of an academic plan. This plan must be created for each student identified under the criteria in the board's challenging curriculum policy. And 3, these academic plans can be part of the required student success plans, but should not conflict with the career choices of the student or the student's parents or guardian. So we as a committee did vote to move these forward to the board. Dave, I believe we'll get these policies out, right? Actually, I think everyone has them in the email that we got last week or something.
Yeah, I think it was shared with the whole board, so you have access to all of those. And then we can entertain questions and anything that comes up.
So everyone can take a look at those policies, but that's what we discussed today, and we're ready to move it forward.
All right, thank you. And Rebecca, anything for the curriculum subcommittee report?
Yes, the curriculum subcommittee met, and Mr. Cornelius gave us a presentation on the middle school's piloting of new math curriculums and resources. Then we heard from Mr. Lewandowski, who explained that currently half of the 8th grade class is taking high school credit Algebra 1 honors class. And we're finding that sometimes when the kids are getting to high school, they are not ready for the next class, the Algebra 2. So next year they are looking at the number of sections being offered to the 8th graders for high school credit Algebra 1 honors will be reduced from 4 to 2 sections to ensure when students get to PHS they are ready for Algebra 2. COVID has exacerbated the learning loss, and Mr. Lewandowski explained that he believes the new MSP math curriculum would help ensure students that are taking Honors Algebra 1 in 8th grade will be prepared to take Algebra 2 at PHS. We also discussed this would be fluid, so it's not a cut to that class, it's just based on the needs of the class coming in. So in the future, more sections could be added if needed. Mr. Lewandowski then spoke about the PHS dual enrollment offerings for college and career pathways. He spoke about classes that could be offered, such as If You Love It, Teach It. These are UConn ECE coursework and education classes. It's If You Love It, Teach It. Contemporary Issues in Sport, Introduction to Special Education. Tunks' coursework for business for those students interested in entering the business world. Accounting and personal finance. Student materials are funded through Tunks via Perkins grant. Credits can be transferred to other colleges. And UConn ECE coursework in health, Introduction to Allied Health Professionals and Professions and Medical Terminology. We're also looking at computer-aided drafting through Goodwin Manufacturing Pathway. 14 students are getting college credits for engineering concepts. The district is looking to move 2 manufacturing courses instead of 1, allowing for more access. And Mr. Lewandowski stated that many students have interest in various areas, and if they are interested, they will succeed. Then the district really doesn't want to put any barriers in the way of giving access to students. Was there anything else, Mr. Lewandowski?
I think that covers it.
Okay. Just want to make sure. All right, and that's it for curriculum, and there's going to be another curriculum meeting now scheduled for June.
Great, thank you so much. Outreach Subcommittee report? Right, do we see-
No report.
No report, okay. And the PAC liaison, Foster for the high school?
Yeah, the last PAC meeting was on March 9th, and that was reported on the last board meeting. The next board meeting of the PAC is scheduled for May 11th, and that may either be a virtual or an in-person meeting.
Great, thank you. P2 liaison for Toflon, Rebecca?
Yes, the Toflon PTO met on March 16th. They gave a treasurer's report. They received the following checks: $169 from Amazon Smiles, $81.50 from Bay State Textiles, $261.94 from Smashburger, and $42 from the Minifig fundraiser. Principal's report: field trips are back. 3rd grade Indian Rock. 4th and 5th grade field trips are pending Board of Education approval. They're looking to go to the Science Center for 4th grade to the Bronx Zoo, and 5th grade to Sturbridge Village. Parent chaperones they're discussing how parents can get involved as well, and they're waiting for confirmation for that. Pre-K and kindergarten parent night to return in May. Tiger Mart has returned. Student language ambassadors, which this was introduced actually by the Linden principal, Mr. Wallowitz. Students who speak another language volunteering to do morning announcements. 10 to 12 videos are done so far. Parents are encouraged to volunteer as well. The Student Council supported wearing green on 3/17. They were bringing back recycling and updated the fence message to the first part of our motto, be kind, the rest of the motto, and be respectful and learn a lot. Mr. Silliman started a gardening club tailored to the older students, about 35 to 40 students in the club, meets on Wednesday mornings. They have planted seeds and plan to transplant them to flower beds as the weather gets nicer. Band concert to be in person at the end of May. Select choir will be singing at the yard game on April 22nd. Possible family virtual trivia night within the next coming month. And the friendship grams that they did for St. Patrick's Day, they sold 1,361 bracelets. Every student received at least one, and the profit was $1,237. They are looking to stock the staff lounge. If you do not like to shop, they can do the shopping for you. You can donate to stock the lounge via Cheddar Up or send in a cash or check to the Tawflawn PTO, and they will buy snacks for the staff lounge. The Scholastic Book Fair went well from 3/21 to 3/25, and they're working on the scholarships. They have 10 volunteers, and the application had closed on April 9th, and they are reviewing those now. Upcoming fundraisers, they have the 4 o'clock flower sale. Pickups will be between May 6th and May 7th. Kelly Maynard is in charge of that, and the PTO joined forces with the Pettit Foundation. And so far, the profits, $465 with meaning a profit of $232 for each group. Apex Fun Run, May 2nd to May 13th. They're looking for volunteers to help plan and come up with new, fresh ideas to celebrate the end of the year for the end of the year picnic. And they created a PTO Amazon wish list for people to donate items for that picnic. Taxes have been filed, and PTO will be giving some of the field trips, including the 4th grade class for their field trip to the Bronx Zoo. They'll be giving some financial assistance, and they'll be giving the 5th grade class $500 for their end of the year picnic. And then they discussed staff appreciation, which I won't share, so they don't know about it. But it was a very productive meeting. And the next meeting will be this Wednesday, April 20th.
Nice, great, thank you. We'll skip over Linden unless somebody has a report. No, okay. And Crystal, MSP?
Yep, the MSP PTC will actually be meeting tomorrow night. What is it? Tuesday, April 19th at 7 p.m.
Okay, Rachel, do you have anything for liaison for Wheeler?
Yes, thank you. I was really excited to read so many positive happenings going on at Wheeler School. First and foremost, how they begin their morning every day was celebrated and highlighted this past month. The morning announcements seem to be a fan favorite of the students, and always begin the day off in a positive way in sharing information and doing the Pledge of Allegiance together as a school, led by the principal, which is really nice. Recognizing leaders of the pack and charter champions, and there's a joke of the day which kicks Wheeler off to laughing and smiling at the beginning of the school day, which is really positive. I do not have the next PTO meeting date, but I can get back to folks with that. Or you can go on to the Wheeler School PTO, Wheeler School page, and hopefully the PTO will have it posted. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything for Craig, Becky?
Nothing from last month. This month's meeting is actually this Wednesday.
This Wednesday? Okay. And, well, I kind of forwarded over some information to Kathy for the chair report, but it's pretty much everything that was covered in the superintendent's report. So I'm not going to repeat myself. Any unfinished business? No. New business? Board open chair. Board open forum. Anyone have any comments or questions they'd like to talk about?
First of all, the explanation about the Adventure Day at the high school, the second one that was held, was amazing to me. And I just can't help but think about the amount of time and effort that goes into planning this, and the fact that that only happens because everybody really buys into it, students and staff all around. So just congratulations to the school for for really doing things that are, you know, it's real life stuff that gets people excited and makes learning relevant. So I couldn't be happier. I'm going to step ahead of us a little bit and just say that I did notice that there is a retirement on the schedule here for, I believe it's Mr. Stephen Bussell. Would I be correct?
That's correct.
So Mr. Stephen Bussell is going to be greatly missed by everyone, right? Steve is, you know, it goes above and beyond. And when, you know, when we hired him, we never knew what his capabilities were, and he has just completely, you know, done things for the district that I don't think we ever would have gotten accomplished without him. Don't ever tell him I said all this, because, you know, his head will get so big, he won't be able to get back through the doors. But, you know, definitely big, big shoes to fill there. And I'm sure we'll talk about him a few more times before he heads out. And then just lastly, voting on the 26th, it's 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the firehouse, yes?
Yes.
So this is where everybody gets mixed up, right? And then people go to vote, and they go to the firehouse, and they're like, why can't I go to the firehouse? You told me I could go to the firehouse. This is where it is, right? But it's a different thing when we vote on the budget. That's us. We can control that. The town of Plainville controls it because it's something in our charter versus when it's an election, which is then controlled by the state, and there's other rules that have to be followed. So just so if we can try and make sure that people understand, go to the firehouse this time, not next time, but this time go to the firehouse. But everybody gets mad when they go somewhere and then they can't vote or whatever. That's it for me. Thank you.
Technically at town meeting as well.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I address the group?
Sure.
Thank you. I just wanted to say congratulations to Nurse Rapaki, well-deserved acknowledgement. So that was nice to see. And I also just want to acknowledge some of the great things that the student liaisons shared, which is always my favorite part of the meeting. I second Isabella's testament about a happy and positive end of the school year, and your laundry list of exciting next steps that everyone has to look forward to. So I just want to wish everyone a happy and safe end of school year and celebrate the seniors' activities and look forward to being a part of all of that. I was super excited to hear about the tutoring program. What an amazing service project. I know when my daughter was a student here, a peer tutor was always something that we were on the hunt for. So that's fantastic, and I hope people take advantage of it. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge how much I'm looking forward to the Superintendent Showcase. I think as the Board of Education, this is an incredible opportunity for us to look towards the future and in the essence of diversity, equity, and inclusion, starting off together. And including diversity of thought and coming together and sharing ideas. So I really am excited about this time that is on the horizon. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and I look forward to the future.
Thank you, I agree. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss?
Madam Chair?
Sure.
I just wanted to say that I attended PHS, and it was an amazing night. The students, it was great to see them having fun and just so engaged, and all of the planning that went into that. It was great fundraiser. I'll definitely have it on my calendar yearly.
The Mr. PHS?
Yes, but they did an amazing job.
I wish I could have been there. Anyone else would like to say anything? Alrighty, I guess we'll move forward to Sam, the quarterly special education cost report. Oh, no report. Okay, sorry. I'm having reading issues. Nothing else. Request of approval for participation in health food. What? Is that you or Steve? I mean, Sam.
Yes.
There's,
Is that you, Sam?
Yeah, which one, we don't do the special education report this month.
No, the
And it-
request approval of participation in the
Yeah.
health, food, and beverage.
So in your agenda, there's a document asking you to approve the healthy food and drink certification. This is something we do every year in April. It's required by the state. It's a win-win. The state, it's our commitment, the board's commitment on behalf of the district to follow the Connecticut school nutrition standards. It's something we want to do anyway because it's in the best interest of our students, and we also get 10 cents a meal for doing it. So it's worth about $16,000 to the food service program. The requirement is that you commit to following the nutrition standards, basically with all food we serve to students, with just a few exceptions. And that's what the language that's highlighted at the bottom of the memo says, that we will follow the standards. The exceptions are basically food served to students at after-school events are exempted. Food and beverages can be exempted, but other than that, we follow the nutrition standards for all food served to students through the program, through school store, vending machines, culinary programs, fundraising, anything during the school day, we follow nutrition standards. And the language requirement is very exact. So there's exact language requirement that Joan will put into the minutes, and it's the required motion language for what you'll be voting on. And I don't need to read it, but you do need to vote on this specific language.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the request approval of participation in healthy food and beverage certification initiative?
Can we do, can you do me a favor? We're going to do two different votes,
Okay.
okay? We're going to do the first one, which is the healthy food option, and this is saying that we're going to participate in the program. And then
Right.
we'll do a second vote saying that we want the exemption, which was what Sam discussed about the fact that there, you know, we can make an exemption to when we can provide any kind of food we want after the school day at an event and all those other things. But they should be done in two separate votes. That's what the
So one
state's
is
getting.
for the certification and the other one is for the exemption.
In one
No,
vote?
number two already is combined.
Yeah.
So it does have to be two votes.
It should be two votes. And they're being a little more persnickety than they were before.
We're allowed to combine something, which we already have done. That's why you're not doing three votes.
Some people are doing three votes. You're allowed to combine the food and the beverage together into one, but you should be doing it in two votes. One is to say, yes, we want to be healthy food certified, and then the second one, yes, we want to participate in the exemption. Or no, you can vote no if you want. I shouldn't tell everybody how to vote. That's
Then I would move,
ridiculous.
Madam Chairman, that we approve the participation in the healthy food and beverage certification.
I'll second that.
Okay,
So now you see all in favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Do I do the any opposed? Any
So now
abstentions?
we're going to do a second motion. I'll make a second motion.
Okay,
For the food and beverage exemption. It's a combined exemption for food and beverages under certain circumstances as stated by Mr. Adlerstein and recognized here.
I second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we're going to move forward to item E.
Yeah, so I shared in my report that it won't be a formal vote, but I was just looking for consent to move forward to a Facilities and Finance Subcommittee to discuss the more detailed explanation of the playscape and the Learning Commons improvements.
So is that something that would be tabled then? And then we discuss it at the next meeting, or how does that? No.
I think we just don't, I think we're just
No
going
action needed on it.
No
It's really
action,
just,
okay.
You don't really, you're not looking for a vote.
right.
And
Okay.
and the reason you have this here, Steve, is because you're talking about potentially not wanting to have to go out to bid if we, you know, if you find a piece of equipment, right, and as Sam mentioned, you know, when you can get it with somebody who has a state bid, then you don't have to go out and go through the,
Correct.
you know, the process, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So we can
What about F?
Yeah, you'll need to make a vote on that.
Okay. We're going to move to item F, request acceptance of administrator resignation, retirement.
As you heard from Mrs. Tyrell earlier, just to clarify and provide a little more information, we did receive Mr. Bustle's announcement of his retirement at the end of June. You know, I will say that, you know, before you hold a parade or anything, we're trying to keep Steve on a we're trying to keep Steve in some capacity working with project management and helping us as a district on a more part-time basis, so he'll retire from the full-time facilities position. We're still in the process of negotiating that and determining what that will look like, but just so everyone's aware that we're hoping to keep, Steve's is a wealth of knowledge, and he's an incredible asset to the district, as you all know, so we're hoping to keep him on in some capacity, and I'll keep the board updated on any potential for that, but I just wanted to provide that detail. So you'll need to get a motion for.
Okay. We can move to the consent agenda. Oh, what? I thought you said we didn't need to vote.
Motion to accept the retirement of an administrator as noted.
Okay. if
I
we-
second that motion
Thank you.
with regret.
All in favor? Any, do I do that, any opposed or no? The motion passes. On to the consent agenda. Sam, items A through G. Is
So-
there a need for any discussion of the items on the consent agenda?
I have a question. Forgive me. I was only able to open 2 of the items. When I go to open them, and this could be user error, it says, and I'll give you an example. I'm going to pick one that I can open. It says, no preview available, file is in owner's trash.
Oh.
Yeah, forgive me. So it's,
But we did receive an email, correct, with all the attachments all together? So-
is that why they were sent? Okay, so they were sent separately. Okay, all right, very good. I just wanted to add, I know, I just wanted to make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong when I go to do this, and so I could correct it in the future. Okay, so it's not user error.
Madam Chairman, I would move that we accept the consent agenda as issued to us in our packet.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second? Motion carries.
Oh.